Hello. Okay, I think we're probably live. It usually goes like that. So, welcome to Courses for Spirit live on, here we go, live on YouTube. And just come back over to Zoom. And I've gone for a Northern Lights kind of background. I'm actually in Italy and staying with relatives. And this background seemed like uh, the best kind of compromise because otherwise I'm in a very cluttered space. And I thought, mind you, the Northern Lights might be a little bit distracting, but welcome. Anyway, it's nearly Christmas. I think it's the 21st today, or is it the 22nd? I think it's the 21st. It's 21st of December, and so only a few days left to go till Christmas. And I'm just waiting for the other guys to join us. So if you're joining us live, you just want to relax and, maybe you want to get a mince pie or make yourself a nice hot drink and we will get into the conversation. I know that both Jeremy and Mason are running a little bit late, but they should be here any minute. Um, Maybe I'll just talk about my technical difficulties. Yeah, I've got a light shining from the top of my head, which is kind of cool. I quite like that. And there's this new setting on Zoom that tracks you. So I'm zooming in and out all over the place because it's having problems, and I don't know how to switch it off. So few technical issues. Never mind. Here's Jeremy coming in. I've gone for the handheld mic today because I haven't had time to set anything up. We were rushing back through the Italian countryside at fairly breakneck speeds to get here so we could go online on time. And Jeremy is here, I think.
Yes, I am. Hello.
Here he is. There he goes, like magic in the sunshine in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying to everyone that I've gone for a virtual background because it's I'm basically sitting on the floor next to a PowerPoint in my partner's parents' house in Italy,
Oh, nice.
and some of the other guests have just arrived, so there's a lot of excitement.
Oh, yeah. Christmas excitement.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've got this strange setting where can you say I keep zooming in and out? I don't know what to
Yeah.
do about that. I'm just going to have to zoom in and out with the northern lights in the background. And
Yeah.
how are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah. This was an interesting week, moving between the heart and the third eye. And the heart, Christmas time, a lot more heart
Hmm.
because of family and gatherings. And today is Winter Solstice. So happy Winter Solstice.
Okay, help me with that, Jeremy, because you're much better with cosmological events. What's the significance of the winter solstice?
It's the shortest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. And so it's the time when like for example full moon and new moon, it's like the new moon but of the seasons. So on the big cosmological cycle, on the annual one, it's it's basically the darkest longest day for us. And the significance of it is in, well, as besides there being less light, it's also a time to be more quiet and to go within. And it's a good time to do planting, like planting of seeds, planting of intentions, And so that ends up leading to, so in the summer, then those ideas bloom, they blossom.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Which is
Yeah.
kind of the opposite of what, because we just come back. We had to go into a big shopping centre, um, and the shopping centres stay open late on the last Sunday before Christmas, which is what's happening now. And my goodness me, that was anything but quiet. That was people were buzzing everywhere, getting last minute Christmas shopping in and everything. And in a way, I think it's quite nice. I mean, it always makes me think of that movie, The Grinch. The Grinch at before Christmas, or The Grinch at Christmas, or something like that. And everybody's like running and getting stuff and getting stuff and getting stuff and getting stuff. And actually, they're people who are buying gifts for people who they care about. So there's,
Hmm.
there's some heart stuff going on there, I suppose. Maybe not like 100% heart stuff, but some of it might be a bit heady. So that's
Heady
interesting what
and
you're
heady
saying
and
is that,
frantic.
yeah, well, it's interesting
Yeah.
what you're saying is that with it being the winter solstice, it's actually the ideal time to get really quiet and kind of plant seeds and plant intentions. And but is there in your kind of your experience, is there a link between why we have this big festival at this time of year and the solstice?
Yeah. Well, it's part of, um, historically, it was, there was a celebration in, often where lights or candles would be arranged in a certain way. And so it would be, this is even before Christmas, before Jesus was born. So this is a very, very old culture. Um, yeah, so Christmas time, Jesus came in, let's say on the 25th, but that's actually just where we celebrate. We celebrate the birth of Christ, because I don't know if his actual birthday was December 25th. There's some historical evidence that suggests maybe it was November, his actual birthday, but that's all conjecture too.
Hmm.
But often Christian holidays were placed on top of other existing holidays. And so in nature, you have the solstice, the winter solstice. And so it's convenient to place the birth of Christ at that time, a chance to go within, a chance to enjoy the longest night.
Have nice lights and a cozy time and think about things that make your heart open. So is it sounds to me a little bit like the way that, say, a city like, well, any of the big cities in Europe, but Rome, for instance, there's kind of the further down you dig, you find different civilizations were there. Or like London, there's a Roman lair, and I guess there's a Viking lair, and so things are built on top of one another. So that's kind
Yeah,
of why we've got the Christmas festival round about this time of year.
yeah. You have the Druid Festival.
What? Sorry, what? What have we got? We got what's that?
Druids.
Yeah.
Druids also celebrate the solstices and the equinoxes.
In what? How would they? How is that celebrated?
It's celebrated usually with a light, like a candle or lanterns, usually placed in a geometric shape, and then or just one candle, and then that geometry is the geometric shapes that they would use. Sometimes there'd be a star. Sometimes it would be um, uh, like something that looks like a tetrahedron. But anyway, so this time of year is the winter solstice. And so the solstice means it's the longest night of the year. And so to enjoy the quiet in Chinese medicine, this time, the time of the most yin. So, you have yin and yang. And so yang is like activity and yin is rest. And so this time of year is the ultimate, has the most darkness. So the most yin and the most rest. And then after that, it gets brighter and brighter.
Wow. So it's pretty much the opposite of what I think the majority. I was just thinking about this in the car on the way up. Is probably the majority of people at this time are kind of trying to get the last bits of shopping in, trying to get their travel plans sorted, trying to get to see family, and probably looking forward to some point, maybe on Christmas Day, where they can just kind of go, oh, and
Yeah,
rest, which
yeah,
is what you're saying this time of year is all about, is that time of peace and that time of quiet. So,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, I mean, also, I think it's worth just acknowledging that this time of year can also be one of the most difficult times for lots of people as well.
yeah. Well, the lack of light can be very difficult. And for people that have SADS, seasonal affective disorder, that they find that the lack of sunlight really does affect their mood and their sense of happiness.
Yeah. And also, not everyone's spending Christmas with loved ones, are they? I guess loneliness must be at its uh, its all-time high at this time of year for people who are spending the winter solstice or the Christmas period on their own. So
Yeah,
just to just to acknowledge that.
yeah,
I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how we can help, but just to acknowledge it, I think is something. Because there can be a lot of pressure on you to be happy at this time of year, and maybe you're not feeling so happy. Maybe you are missing people, or maybe you're feeling left out, and a whole other bunch of difficult things could be happening for people at this time of year. So we just want to say we don't know what to do about that, and we don't know if we can do anything about that other than to acknowledge it. I think that's it really.
well, I mean, we can entertain ourselves, right? And it's like self-soothing, where we can do the things that we like, things that we want, without anybody else around. Although I know that at Christmas time, people jostling around, make getting on airplanes, having to deal with crying babies, and the typical travel at Christmas. National Lampoon, they did a movie called Christmas Vacation, and where it was quite a funny show, but where there's um, emotions run high, family haven't gotten together for a long time, so you've got all the family dynamics that happen as well. And so maybe sometimes if we're feeling alone, we can actually enjoy being alone. We can enjoy the space, enjoy the silence, and make our own
Yeah, there's a range of different experiences, and we can't know what you're experiencing. Just talking to the people at home. All we can do, really, I guess, from here is just send you love, and maybe we can open our hearts a little bit and just let that let it let that include as many people as possible without even knowing who you are or where you are or what kind of situation you're in.
Yeah.
And also, one of the things that amazes me actually about myself, let's talk, is my own lack of understanding and my own ignorance of spiritual things, even though spirituality is something I've been passionately interested in since I'd been a kid. Is, when we're celebrating Christmas, what that word Christ means and the relationship that we can have with Christ.
Yeah.
Because I, I think I've said this before on the show. I've thought for a long time, I thought Christ was Jesus' surname.
Oh yeah.
I literally, I
Jesus,
know, really
Jesus the
did.
Christ.
Like I thought Buddha was a surname.
Yeah.
That's not how it is. Um,
Christ, yeah, Christ was Christ consciousness.
so maybe explaining that might help a little bit. I don't know. If you've got a way of unpacking that for people.
Well, Christ, the word Christ comes from, I think, Chustania, and that's basically the third eye. And so Christ consciousness is when we're seeing one with our eye, supposedly.
If thine eye be single, thy body will be full of light.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so for me, Christ consciousness, as I understand it, and I could be getting this wrong, um, Christ consciousness is where you're not identifying with your body and your name and your possessions and your titles and your roles in life. You're identifying with the one consciousness that's behind all of the phenomena of the universe, and you
yeah,
recognize, when Jesus is saying, "I and my Father are one," when he's talking about Father, he's talking about the sacred, or he's talking about God. It depends, which words you're comfortable with, and saying, "I'm one with that." So it's a way of saying I'm one with everything, and
yeah,
everything's in me, and so it's a very elevated state of consciousness. And so when we're
yeah,
talking about being Christians, now I'm not saying I don't know how Christians think about themselves because there's so many different types of Christianity, and I'm not
yeah,
saying this is the way and this is the truth. I'm not saying that. My understanding of it is when you're a Christian, then that's what you're interested in. You're interested in being like Christ and attaining Christ consciousness to the best of your ability.
yeah.
and that can be a focus at Christmas. But it's hard. I mean, it's hard when you look. It's hard when. I mean, you've been lonely. You know what it's like to be lonely. I've suffered from loneliness at different times in my life, and it is the hardest thing for a human being. So I don't think I would sit here and say, okay, well, just meditate and focus on your third eye at Christmas and everything will be all right. What I'd be saying is like you're saying, there is a possibility to meditate and to connect with that consciousness and connect with the person of Jesus
Yeah.
at this time. And for Christians, that's that's pretty important, I think.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't want to cause any offence because I know there'll be people who are Christians who really don't see it that way, and I think everyone's entitled to experience spirituality however it shows up for them. So not claiming
Yeah.
any truth here, just kind of really it's opinion that we're sharing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I know monks at this time of year do a lot more meditation. There's actually self-realization fellowship monks. They do a 2 day meditation where they meditate for 2 days, focusing just on Christ.
Yeah, I was if we if we were in London, I'd quite like to have gone to that because they do that at the Self Realization Fellowship
Yeah.
Centre there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because when you get together with other people and you meditate or you sing or you have a meal, or you share presents, all of those kind of things. Share presents and share presents. Presents as in gifts and presents as in your presence.
Yeah.
That amplifies it, I think.
Yeah. It does. And so I wonder when when it comes to um, when it comes to thinking about Christ and Christmas, what does Christmas mean to you?
Well, when I was a kid, it was dead exciting because it basically meant a new bike or, some presents. And Santa Claus was definitely coming down the chimney. I was so
Yeah.
excited about that. And I was so
Yeah.
excited about Rudolph and all the other reindeers. And, seeing, I mean, it was the big thing for me was the family getting together. It was getting the presents. Let's not forget that. That was important to me.
Yeah.
I loved decorating the tree. I loved the lights. I liked it when people would be singing songs together. Um, I liked that I didn't have to go to school for 2 weeks. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Christmas puddings, absolutely love Christmas puddings. They're kind
Yeah.
of British sort of style. Rum sauce, rum butter, all of the stuff. I used to love all of that. So, I mean, Christmas never had, it had, I like to look at the nativity scenes, and I always had this lovely, warm feeling when I thought about Jesus as a kid, just because Jesus was one of the few people who I heard about that said that they loved kids. Like they really looked at, they just loved being around kids.
Yeah.
So they loved children. And there was wisdom there as well, like treat others as you would have them treat yourself. So that was my first introduction to anything that I could recognize as wisdom.
Yeah.
And and then I guess there was a time when I was quite a nihilist, um, hedonistic and nihilistic, and I was fairly miserable then. So Christmas was just I was basically the Grinch then. I didn't like Christmas because I didn't really believe in anything. I didn't. I don't know, it didn't really mean anything to me. And that was a horrible time. Didn't like that at all. That was a pretty dark time in my life.
Yeah.
And then Christmas to me now is about, well, this is a sacred time. And so it's a time to meditate, and it's a time to give gifts, and it's a time to be with people and to look for the best in everybody,
Yeah.
and and just be together and relax a little bit and let the ego do its thing and jump around and shout and scream and whatever it wants to do, and kind of look at it and remember what's important in life,
Yeah.
which really is, a lot of the time, it's about connecting to connecting to other people, or connecting to something that brings a sense of well-being and harmony into your life. Because
Yeah.
we all deserve that. What about you? I'll ask you. I'll throw that question straight back at you.
Yeah. Well, uh, as a child, Christmas had um, quite a shine to it with the presents and Santa Claus and coming down the chimney, which is, um, and the family, the dinners. We had we have an Italian Catholic family on my mom's side. And so we would go to church. And interestingly, when I went to church in Mexico, um, they they do 24-hour service. So they have service going all night long in the Catholic Church with Mexico,
Oh wow!
which is quite, the bell rings every hour, and that was quite amazing to see. Um, but yeah, so I had all the fun stuff growing up with Santa and with spirituality, the wow of the church, because that was where we do singing as well, um, and eventually I moved into a phase where Christmas became way more spiritual, and it was about giving and also eventually receiving, about receiving, because the lack of light affects me, and so lack of sunlight, I realized that there is a light within us, and so instead of focusing on the outer light, I would focus on the inner light, and that inner light can become quite bright inside. We have the whole plethora of lights within us if we know where to look. And so eventually Christmas became, over time, it evolved and became less about family, less about um, buying presents, because there was a time when buying presents became, it's just so superficial, right? It's like there's that point where it's like, why am I, we're buying things just to buy things, just to give gifts. And so that became very hollow for me. And that was, where, of course, gifts make people smile and people feel good. What if people have everything? What if they have everything? And so then it moves to, well, buying something just to get somebody something, just to kind of appease that. And I still have that a little bit today. It's to have that, to show that I was thinking of them. But at one point, I ended up making presents for people, making these things with crystals, these cool, they like really nice geometric crystalline structures, and so that brought a different level to giving, where I was giving things that they wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. And then I realized it was about giving from within. And so that can also be in forms of prayer or in forms of a nice note. And eventually, Christmas became much more about being present in the heart for me, because in the heart, it was all the family things and the gift giving. Well, the giving comes from the heart. And so I ended up getting into a phase where Christmas was just about love. And that's where it stayed. It remained. For Christmas, it was about being able to feel love of God and feel the love of Christ and be able to share that love if possible, because there is a lot of love there.
Okay.
And but accepting people for who they are, accept yourself for who you are, whatever your circumstances, bringing a real deep appreciation to that and seeding it in love. And that was where Christmas ended up with me.
Mm. Well, do you know, that makes me think that maybe with the time we've got left for the live stream, that maybe some kind of a guided meditation from you, Jeremy, could be really lovely. Sharing that love at Christmas time.
Okay.
Would you think? Should we do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So for people at home, what's a good way to get settled in to join in with that?
Just make yourself comfy, wiggling your body a little bit, and taking a moment just to breathe, just to notice your breath. And as you take a big breath, notice the air moving through your nose, cooling the inside of your body. And on the out breath, letting it go. So in, cooling air, and out, let it go. Trying that a few times. And noticing your feet, and your legs, your hips, your middle, and going up to your chest. Really breathing into your chest, expanding it, and letting it go. Breathing into your arms and letting them go. Breathing into your head and letting it go. And this time, when you're breathing in, maybe close your eyes and go within. And when you're inside, you might notice there's a point in the middle of your chest where you can breathe in and expand it and soften it on the way out. Try this a few times. Breathing in, expanding, and exhaling, softening. And so inside you, there is a light that is bright. Might be shimmering, might be solid. And when you're ready, breathe into that light, expanding it and softening it as you want with your breath, expanding and softening. And so with the tenderness, expanding and softening, expanding and softening. And with this light that you can expand and soften, you can let it flow to wherever you want it to go. You can let it flow out your arms, flow down your spine, flow into your toes, to your fingertips, to your nose. Wherever you want that light to flow, you can let it flow. Let it go. Expanding and softening. Expanding and softening. And if you imagine what it's like with a baby bird or some small creature and how you can tenderly hold it, that innocent little creature, and shine your love on that creature. You can do that with yourself, shining that love on yourself like you're this small creature, and expanding and softening, expanding and softening. And the more soft you become, the more that you become soft, and the more that that warm light can flow to wherever it needs to go, expanding and softening, expanding and softening. And with the tenderness and care, you can feel that love everywhere, expanding and softening. day or night, wherever you are, the heart is there, pumping and glowing, expanding and softening in all directions. Take a big breath and expand that light in all directions and soften, glow and soften. Every breath, there can be a wave that expands the love, expands the light. Every breath expands and softens. And if you want to, you can send it to somebody, just a little bit. You can send that love to whoever you want to send it to, whether they're alive or whether they're passed away. You can send it to them. And then come back to yourself, back to your inner light, expanding and softening, expanding and softening. And maybe for now, we can focus on Christ consciousness, focus on the light, and we can bring that light up to our third eye, up to between the eyes, and notice it shines differently. It shines in all directions, and we can breathe in and expand it and soften, expand and soften, and eventually that light we can bring down, back down to the heart, expand it and soften, and bringing in the love for yourself, for others, bringing it all together. Eventually maybe bringing your hands up to your heart level, and very gently giving yourself a nice warm hug in your heart. For you're divine, and divine is you. Here from the start. And in your own time, in your own way, bring yourself to your center. Maybe wiggle your toes, your fingers, your nose, and come back to this room, to your center and your clothes. Thank you for being you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jeremy. And then that's wonderful. And that brings us to the close, really, of today's live stream. And I guess all it really leaves for us to do is just to wish you at home and a for me to wish you, Jeremy, also, we'll be talking later, of course, a very Merry Christmas. I know that's a little bit old-fashioned, but I do like to say Merry Christmas to people.
Yeah.
You know, people say Happy Holidays. I like Merry Christmas because I am,
Yeah.
and a
Merry
and a and a,
Christmas.
and a very Happy New Year too.
Yeah, and happy solstice.
And a Happy Solstice. Yeah, lovely. Thank you so much. Okay, so I mean, we're going to say goodbye now, and we're going to be coming off the live stream.
Yeah.
We're going to be chatting for a little while, a little short chat on the Zoom meeting, which if you did want to join that, you can join us by going to coursesforspirit.ca, CA for Canada. So that's courses for, the word for, spirit.ca. And then just go to workshops and click on the Zoom link, and you'll just come straight into the Zoom. Okay, so thank you so much, Jeremy, and
Thank you, everybody.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas.